Hey potheads, and welcome back to another episode of Pottery with Dave, the ground zero of fun. Let's jump right into it, guys. Anyway, yesterday I was rooting about an abandoned alleyway, as one does, and I found something epic. A pre-opened Play-Doh container. And I did what any logical person does with the strange item they found behind a loose brick in a damp alleyway, and I set up my cameras to make a Bengal video out of it. Now, as you might have noticed, the label says Special Shale. I'm not really sure what that means, but when an anonymous guy leaves a children's toy in a potential drop spot, you gotta trust his taste. Now, for the build today, I'm thinking a stick figure with a tiny little hole in the top to hold a candle or something. So, let's just go ahead and get started. Alright guys, this one is just about ready. I'm gonna go follow up the kiln. Shale. Shale is an unconventional reservoir of natural gas, mostly due to its lower permeability than its more conventional counterparts, such as limestone. Well, this is mostly due to the fact that the lack of continuous pores makes it a lot more difficult for a gas to flow into a well. What's your deal? You think shale's too costly? You're not a fan of fracking? You're not one of us. Alright guys, I fired up the kiln and it's almost ready to go. But now it's time for our daily pottery fact. So I did a quick internet search and here's some baseline info I gathered. Shale is an unconventional source of natural gas. Ah, so I'm in the presence of another shale connoisseur. Or perhaps a shale shaman or shale shile. Ah, no bother of your rank. I'm just glad to meet another. So tell me, sir, what are your opinions on the cost of our technology? Do you find it prohibitive to common use? How popular is it today by your standards? Please, spare no detail. Yeah. Oh. You're not one of... You don't know. You know nothing of natural gas or fracking? Perhaps I'll have to educate you. What do you mean by that? Guys, I don't know what's going on. I was just trying to make some content for you viewers, and now I got some guy in my house trying to tell me shale facts. So basically, the way fracking works is a fluid, usually water, is mixed with sand and other additives and then pumped down a well. This water is highly pressurized and causes the rock to fracture, hence the name. And then, of course, that causes the natural gas to be released, and then it's returned to the surface. But then we get to the reason for all this hard work, the uses of the gas. Now, natural gas has many uses, among them being to heat buildings and water, to produce electricity, to run indoor cooling equipment, and run outdoor lighting fixtures, and run specific types of vehicles. Really? I mean, your water heater probably uses it, and there's a good chance that your grandma's stove uses it too. And also, if you're ever outside and you use lighting, you're probably using natural gas. And now that I think about it, there's a fracking operation not too far from here in St. Augustine County. Oh, come on. We can't have a nice civil discussion if you don't respond. Look, a natural shale outcropping in my house. Oh, goody. You're already coming around. Oh, Dave, that was unwise. I was planning to delay your education a little bit further, but it seems you've left me no choice. By grabbing that sheet, you've started your own education, and I'm obligated to make sure you fully mastered the subject. Now, Sorry if I get a little bit rude. I get fairly feral when someone takes my shell sheet. Not again. Sorry guys, living that YouTuber lifestyle really does not keep you in shape. Anyway, let's take a look at this paper. Environmental impacts. Hear ye Shalane the Shaman first class. The environmental impacts of fracking are thus: air pollution, water pollution, small induced earthquakes, and loss of biodiversity due to habitat destruction. Wacky. And seeing as you, Shalane the Shaman first class, are high enough on the shale scale, you are entitled to the following information. The hidden environmental impacts of fracking are thus: the chemicals used in the operation can seep into the groundwater, contaminating it, and the wastewater left over from the operation can seep into the water as well. And finally, the water, if drank by humans, can cause adverse health effects. That's weird. I left out the fact that there's a chance for oil spills if the fracking is targeting oil. How do I even know that? I just didn't think people cared this much about shale. I mean, with all of its environmental damage it can possibly cause, along with only being a little bit greener than its conventional counterparts, I just thought it was more split. I thought it was less widely accepted. And I mean, especially considering the price, it's so expensive that really only big companies can afford to set up the fracking sites. Oh, Dave, when you grabbed that sheet, you were gonna get educated. You were gonna learn. And I'd say you've mastered the subject. You know about the increased availability of natural gas. You know about the reduced emissions. So tell me, Dave, are you ready to join me? But what about the environmental impacts? What about the biodiversity loss? What about the contamination? Oh, you already grabbed the sheet, son. It's not up for debate. Hello, Shadave, Self Trial, second class. It's a pleasure to have you. But what do we do? We teach. We spread. How do we? Oh. Now tell me, Shadave, what is shale? Shale is an unconventional form of natural gas.